We're here to talk about the art of the Bureau for Connected Digital World.
Hi, Andrew from Connected Digital World here. I recently visited 2K Marin Studios in San Francisco to take a look at the Bureau XCOM Declassified. While I was at the studio, I got to see a lot more of the game and also talk to various people who were involved in its creation. This video is part one of a two-part interview with Jeff Weir, who's the art director on the Bureau XCOM Declassified. In part two, we talk about various things including Angela and the new ship, the Avenger. So what got you interested in doing artwork for video games?
For games. Yeah, that's a really interesting story. So I've always been... my father's an industrial designer, a toy designer. He used to work for Mattel. He actually designed the for the kids' handlebars. That thing goes makes them like that. My dad designed that, and so I always had it in my genes, I guess. And I was designing toys at my desk when I was a kid, trying to be like Dad and that kind of stuff. But then I also was I'm like turning 42 tomorrow, and I was right prime age for Star Wars. So Star Wars was a huge influence for me. Like from age 6 to age 12, my whole life was dedicated to Star Wars and everything related to it. I spent every allowance coin on action figures, and I was just so into that stuff. And I used to fly them past my face and go and all that kind of thing. So
We all did that.
Yeah, so yeah, it's awesome. And then I also was into games. I've been playing games since Pong, and so it all works together. And then when I went into college, I kind of left art the wayside for a little bit because I thought that was like too whimsical, I guess, and I decided to go engineering to actually build spaceships. And then I realized that was actually be a lot of hard work that was not terribly very fun. So I said, I'm screwed. I'm gonna go into art because I went back to art again. And then, but then at the time, it was just about the advent of computer graphics really starting to get going. And so what I was doing in art schools, I was using digital tools and submitting it alongside traditional artwork. So people would have their artwork made standard up on the wall in say a drawing or painting class, and I would submit something done in Photoshop or something done in 3D Studio Release 2, it's really old, really before Mac, so really old stuff, and like to have, and it was having critiqued on the same standing as traditional art. And I was doing this partially because I was sort of freaked out about trying to have how am I get a job being an artist after I get out of school, and I found out that there's games is a place where artists can actually make money. So that was a cool discovery for me. So I've been making games now for 20 years.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what's your favourite character that you've...
Favorite character? Oh boy, it's always tough to say favorites. I like big hulking things. I mean, I mentioned Star Wars, so I'm a big fan of the AT-ST and AT-AT. So I definitely love the Sectopod a lot because it's stomping around doing some big messing thing up stuff. And I also, for the same reason, also like the Muton because it also is bashing things up, Hulk smash and that kind of good stuff. So those are probably my two favorites because I just like the big things that just go and mess things up.
Excellent. And what software and hardware do you use to do a lot of your design work on?
Yeah, so on the art side, we use Photoshop, we use ZBrush, we use Max. It's a little bit of Maya, and those are the main tools. Sometimes we also use Mudbox as well, but the main stuff is really mainly Photoshop, ZBrush, and Max are really the main tools that we use.
Having seen some of the intricacies of the artwork today, I mean, you guys have even gone to the level of putting little strands of thread near buttons and stuff like that. Have you ever thought that actually that's kind of a bit overkill and you could have saved a bit of time?
Sub-pixel? Yeah, I know.
I think it's great. I mean, personally, I think it's amazing. And but are you not worried that people just can completely miss all this hard work?
They probably will, but that's why we're artists, right? We have to be perfectionists and love our craft. Yeah.
So once this game's out, and it's out very, very soon, what's next for you?
Oh boy, well, so I'm already working on something new, but I can't say anything about it at all.
Damn, I was trying to get that out of you.
Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. It's a little bit harder than that. Yeah, maybe some money or whatever.
There's some chocolate in the cupboard.
Cool.
So how many different pieces of artwork do you have to produce for a game, sort of the size and length of...
Boy, that's hard to even quantify. I mean, thousands, for sure, include everything else. Yeah, there's thousands of pieces of artwork. You know, some pieces are used more than other pieces. Some pieces are like... we have pieces that are more like for kits that are used all around in different worlds, and pieces are what we call hero assets that are used once, and they're like a striking tower or a, you know, maybe it might be the Avenger, for example, definitely a hero asset, you know, for the game. So they all vary in terms of, you know, how much detail and how much they're used, but there's thousands in the game, and it's a lot of work just to manage everything and make sure everything's all organized.
So also we saw today a lot of the modelling and artwork for Angela.
Mm-hmm.
So is it a lot harder to create a female character than a male character?
Not really, but I have noticed in my years that some artists have proclivity more towards female or male characters. It's this sort of weird artist thing, and I don't think it's any different. You know, the hardest part that we dealt with her was coming up with a hairstyle we liked. She changed hairstyles many times, and we always were critiquing. Oh, that doesn't look good in this scene. You know, like they're always definitely like because there's more of it. We definitely were judging it pretty harshly, and we went through a lot of different hairstyles from a beehive, all these different things. We're like, there's so many cool hairstyles in the period. It was hard to pick one, but hard to pick one that actually looked great in all scenes. Yeah.
And you mentioned the ship.
Yes.
What did you guys use as inspiration for the ship?
Like I said, we were the Avenger was inspired by real sort of skunkworks, 1950s, 60s era, craft when they actually were trying to make real UFOs, back, on the desert, and we were inspired by the actual craft that they were trying to do, and thought they'd be really great to sort of change that, turn it into a real thing, scale it up bigger, and make it into a real craft. And I've always loved the classic aircraft from the era, like the F-104 is awesome design, like so space age, and this bullet going through space, and just all the aluminum paneling of this bear, and this looks so awesome and powerful, all the rivets in it, and just wanted to create something that lived in that sort of fantasy, that kind of a right stuff fantasy.
And even the spacesuits that
for sure.
guys are wearing,
they're all
Mercury.
They're all shiny. I love that. Those guys were such badasses.
Did you not want to sort of maybe go a little bit more futuristic?
I really didn't want to, because I wanted it to feel period. And that's the place we really could do it. Because like I mentioned to you earlier, the Zujari were trying to be futuristic. The Zujari are futuristic aliens, and we didn't want them to feel really in high contrast towards it. We wanted it to feel genuinely of the era, so you really bought that you were then.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for your time today.
Cool. Great.
If you missed part 1 of the interview, you can watch it by clicking on the link on the screen now. You can also watch some exclusive gameplay footage by clicking on the other link. And why not subscribe to us for more videos, exclusive interviews and lots more by clicking on the subscribe link on the screen.